Okay, this was one of two TRC-207s that I received today. Neither this or the other radio would even power up at all, just completely dead. I cleaned the power jack. I was using actually a 12-volt jack to try to power it, and it would nothing. So I took a screwdriver and I scraped out the metal contact for the negative side of the barrel connector and sprayed contact cleaner in there. Also working the barrel jack in and out of that slot and twisting it around, and that restored power to the 12-volt jack. So I was able to power on the radio. The volume worked fine, channel indicator worked fine. However, squelch did not work at all. And I removed. I also I think part of the power problem was also corrosion on the actual volume adjustment knob. So I removed opened the radio up and sprayed contact cleaner into the volume potentiometer and also the squelch potentiometer. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you can see on the side here there is a small slot where you can actually gain access to both. You can see it right there in the potentiometer. Right there is a tiny slot that you can spray contact cleaner into and then just work it back and forth. There's another one on the squelch as well. So, or this is the volume side, this is the squelch. So you can spray it in on both of those access slots and work it back and forth to clean the contacts. So that got it powered up by cleaning the contacts on the barrel jack and then also on the volume knob. Squelch did not work, however, and so it would just be, it would never go off. So I took the soldering iron and reflowed the contacts. I didn't even add solder. I simply put a drip of flux onto these three terminals here is where the potentiometer connects to the board. And then I just took the hot iron, and it's hard to see. Just took the hot iron and reflowed the solder, heated it up, and let it cool back down again and solidify. Now, and that restored service to the squelch. But I had removed the two plastic caps off of the squelch and the volume potentiometers. And I realized, and I'm doubting that this is going to be able to be displayed, but you can see these three contacts right here. They're cracked, and I'm sure I cracked it when I put the cap back on. So now it's not powering on as reliably, but you can see how those solder joints are cracked. So I'm going to reflow those as well, and that should fix it. I had another one of these where one of these must have been cracked enough so that it was somehow grounding out, and volume was actually stuck at 100%. But reflowing those contacts fixed that as well. So I'm going to reflow those, and I'll be back. So literally all I did was reflow the solder on those three contacts directly below the antenna there, which those go through to the pot for the volume. And now you can see there's no more cracks. So give it a test. And there's a squelch. So radio's fixed. Went from completely dead to working fine. I'll have to test the transmit also. Well, I did want to say one more thing about these 207s. They seem to be very, very tough. There's, these things are probably, I don't know, 35 years old, and the problems that they have are minor. The actual complicated circuitry and whatnot that controls the transmit and receive functions, channel changing, all that kind of stuff, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it at all. I've yet to find one of these that had any strange issues like that. They're all pretty simple, mostly corrosion on every single one of these things. This one, I guess, is an exception, but almost every single one of these that I've found, people leave batteries in them, and that's what kills it. The corrosion, the batteries all leak out and make the contacts unusable. But the nice thing about these, to get that resolved, is that these contacts just come right out. They're not even glued in. They're just pushed in. So you can literally take a very thin flathead screwdriver and lever it up a little bit and pull it out with a pair of pliers, clean them up, and put them back in again. And there's no wires behind there or anything like that. The wire that solders it to the board, there's the ground wire is right here, and then the hot wire is up here. So these are literally just connecting all the batteries together. They're just pushed together. There's nothing behind there, and they can just come right out. And that's the number one fault with these things, is just bad contacts from leaving batteries on them. But this one was probably the most extensive, that needed the most extensive repair, because I had to reflow just the volume and the squelch knob connections to the board. And then I think the main failure was probably dirty contacts and really the cracked solder joints on the volume knob. That was causing it not to power up. It probably wasn't even anything to do with the DC barrel jack, because the batteries also, when I put the batteries into it, with this one had clean contacts, but when I put the batteries into it, there was voltage coming through to the board, but it wasn't powering up. So I think that was the fault there. But I guess the downfall of these things is that the jack, or the antenna, is not a standard jack. It's a proprietary one. And you can't, of course, locate spare antennas for that. But it's relatively, it took me some trouble to modify this one. But it's doable. And now that I know how to do it, it's not that difficult. I could, maybe I'll make a video about that at some point, but it's not that difficult if you're not careful and you damage the piece of coaxial cable in there that connects the antenna to the board. You can fix it, but it's a kind of a pain. So if you're super careful, you could probably avoid that. But anyway, that's about it. The 207, I think, is probably my favorite of these, just because of how easy it is to get working again, and it seems to be really robust. Anyway.